Google has done a great job of making their Pixel devices for 2020 big talking points in tech, but not really in the way that you would think. You see, in a year that saw the proliferation of high-powered processors and high megapixel count cameras, Google stuck to their software guns, providing an experience that doesn't rely on pure power. Now, we saw this with the Pixel 4a, which is one of the best deals in Android smartphones right now, but now the next trick in the hat has arrived with the Pixel 5, and this, the middle child of this year's line. Let's see if some key upgrades actually elevate the already beloved Pixel 4a. This is Pocket Now, and I'm Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? This is the Pixel 4a 5G. And this video is brought to you by Broadlink's Home Automation Solutions. Stick around to find out how you can set up your smart home devices without even needing an app and get your smart home started for just $5. One key complaint that some people might have with the Pixel 4a, and if we're honest, the Pixel 5, is the size of the phone. Some people prefer more screen real estate, especially for better media consumption experiences. But if we were going to look at the lineup of current Pixels, it's interesting to see that this phone is what lies right in the middle, and it's the biggest one. That's thanks to this 6.2-inch display, which is a little bit bigger than that on the Pixel 5 and definitely a bump up from that smaller Pixel 4a. Now, what you get in screen real estate here, you lose in refresh rate, but it's still a great OLED screen that you can enjoy plenty of media and gaming on. Now, this video is not meant to be a direct comparison between the different Pixels, but now that we've been around them for a little while, it's fair to look among a few details. The Pixel 4a 5G accommodates the larger screen with the same design language as the smaller 4a, which is to say there are some diminishing returns. You get the simple black plastic build once again, only blown up. The result does include these slightly bloated edges all around, and there's a little bit more bezel around the larger screen than some people might want. The simple black design does leave a little bit to be desired as far as style is concerned, but you can get that with some really good protection using the award-winning UB Pro from our channel sponsor Subcase. The links are found in the description for you to check them out. Now, don't get me wrong, the phone doesn't feel cheap, but after you hold a Pixel 5 and you experience that metallic body, as well as just how packed in it is and it saves on dead space, you realize that there is a real difference between 4 and 5. Now, the differences between the 4a 5G and the 5 mostly stop at those surface-level features, the screen and the body. Part of the reason why these two phones came out at the same time, months after the smaller 4a, is because they are strikingly similar. Performance is helped along by the Snapdragon 765G, which has been proving itself time and again as a great everyday processing package. And while it might not be a super high performer and you will see some diminishing returns in more intensive games, the fact that you can still play top-level titles like Call of Duty Mobile and Genshin Impact without many hiccups is still a good thing, and that is also helped along again by the larger display. There is a small hit to the amount of RAM. You get 6 on here in the 4a 5G, which might be a little odd because a bigger screen like this does usually lend itself to more multitasking capabilities. But that said, 6GB should be plenty for those people who are not super heavy power users. The 4a 5G also splits the difference between its siblings in battery capacity, coming in at just under 4,000 mAh with 18-watt charging. I've been able to get through pretty much every typical workday without any issues, charging the phone overnight most of the time. But the lack of wireless charging in mainly a work-from-home environment that we might all be in right now is the thing that I most noticed missing. A quick word on 5G. Yes, it seems that this larger Pixel is using the term 5G to replace what could have been XL. And while I think that 5G is slowly but surely becoming a more fruitful consideration, the fact of the matter is that most people who are getting 5G phones right now might not truly be able to enjoy it even a couple years down the line. By that time, there will be plenty more places that have the new high speeds, including my own neighborhood. But there will also be more phones that support it, and you might already be in line for an upgrade by that time. Now, that's not to say that this phone is not future-proofed, but I'm still hesitant to recommend any current smartphone solely on the promise of 5G. But with that said, I have to give props to the Pixel line this year for making it clear that 5G is an included feature that doesn't have to break the bank. The 4a 5G might be the best example of that right now, alongside the more expensive but not egregiously priced Pixel 5. So the Pixel 4a 5G, as you can tell, does a lot more to stand side by side with the Pixel 5 rather than its smaller sibling. And that's mostly okay if you look at the 4a as the budget phone, and then paying that extra money for a slightly more premium experience gets you the key upgrades in performance, screen, and then in the camera, which might be the biggest consideration for any of you who are looking at phones with the word Pixel in the name. Shout out to the sponsor of this video, Broadlink. Broadlink's smart home products require no app to set up, unlike most smart home products that make you go through a lengthy pairing process. It works directly with Alexa and Google Home. With Broadlink no app technology, the process could be completed in just 3 simple steps. For example, this smart plug is as easy as connecting to the plug via Wi-Fi and logging into your router. Then a few steps later, you're able to control the product with your smart home speaker or Google Assistant. It's so easy and also inexpensive, with smart plugs starting at just $5 and smart bulbs for only $10. Hit the link in the description to get your smart home started by buying Broadlink products on Amazon. So you might have already seen the Pixel 5 review here on Pocket Now, in which Jaime mentions that the Pixel is still a good camera, especially for stills, but it's losing a lot of ground in upgrades across the board from competitors, especially when you consider video. Now, the same camera setup from the Pixel 5 is actually here in the 4a 5G, which I think is actually pretty great. It almost says more, though, about the Pixel 5 having this camera package than it does the 4a 5G upon closer inspection. I say that because I personally really like what Pixel cameras already provide, but I also agree that there needs to be a stronger upgrade for the top-level smartphones. On the other hand, these cameras actually feel pretty much at home in the 4a 5G. Pixel phones are still king when it comes to stills, as Google's software processing creates really great results in many conditions that other cameras just might struggle in. Pictures from either the main sensor or even the added ultra-wide camera are sharp, have good amounts of contrast, and can take a pretty terrible scene and make something at least decent out of it. Portraitures get a lot of love because of a couple of key new elements. Firstly, the still great night sight can be done in portrait mode too now. But after you get the portrait, either on the rear or back cameras, you can actually add an artificial light in Google Photos and position it for further effect. Now, that feature is a Google Photos thing, and supposedly you can add that to many portraits across different phones, but it was introduced in these new Pixel devices. Now, like I mentioned, where things somewhat fall apart is in the video side, which is conflicting to say because Google actually put some good thought into the new features. The main problems are that there's no 4K on the front-facing camera, and the rear shooters provide good results mainly in the best lighting scenarios. It's in video that Google needs to put more effort into both their hardware specifications but also into the software encoding, which still leaves a little bit to be desired as far as raw quality is concerned. Now, I do hope those come, because these new stabilization modes are a great idea. Doing things like locking down a handheld steady shot would be great for zoomed-in video, but on a phone like this, it's digital zoom, so you're losing detail. Active stabilization is only shot at 1080p, and there's no level of stabilization that is put on the front-facing camera, which is another knock on the selfie lovers. Clearly, Google have continued to perfect their processing in the stills photography side, and if that were to continue with some new and upgraded hardware, it would probably lead to something amazing. But that same level of detail needs to come over to the video side. We're seeing a little bit of that thought being put in now, which is great, so here's to hoping that everything starts to coalesce in whatever the Pixel has in store for us next. The middle child of the Pixel line is an interesting exercise in priorities. While the Pixel 5 might actually feel like the most premium of the bunch, a lot of what makes that phone quite great is in a more affordable, bigger alternative. And honestly, the Pixel 4a 5G sacrifices extra bells and whistles that you don't really need anyway. A metallic body, IP-rated water resistance, wireless charging, and a higher refresh rate. And apparently all of that translates to about $100 worth in savings. And honestly, at $499, the Pixel 4a 5G manages to be a very balanced package that can satisfy a lot of people who appreciate the lower price of the 4a but need a bit more than what the smallest of the bunch offers. And if you're looking for a good, reliable, everyday smartphone experience with the kind of camera that Google puts the Pixel name on with the quality to match, well, I think that this is actually a very affordable offering that is about half the price of many flagship smartphones today. Let me know what you think of the Pixel 4a 5G. Did you get one, and are you enjoying your time with it so far? Let us know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. At the very least, drop some likes on this video and subscribe to Pocket Now if you haven't already for videos that come out basically every single day. With all of that said, we're going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we will see you in our next video.